I am going to show you how to do cross stitch embroidery. Cross stitch embroidery, unlike other embroidery we just copy the pattern and then do the embroidery. But in cross stitch embroidery we do not trace or copy a pattern, we just count the squares in each count the squares in the material. This is called mati cloth or this is called Aida mati. We have to count the number of squares. This is Aida mati 14 count. In 1 square inch we have 14 squares. This is 10 count Aida mati. Here we have 10 squares per square inch. The bigger the less number of squares, the bigger the cross stitch comes. See, the more number of squares, this is 14 count and this is 10 count. In 14 count the squares are very small. Here you get the stitches are also you get it very small. The smaller the prettier. And we are not going to use the normal cruel needle or sharp needles. For this we are not going to go into the fabric, we just insert the needle only through this hole. So we need tapestry needle. We use only tapestry needle. For 14 count we use number 24 and for 11 count we use tapestry needle number 18. The bigger the holes, the thicker the needles. Tapestry needles have a blunt edge, so it easily enters the holes here. So it is easy to do that. We also have cloth also, mati cloth, for supposing you want to do a cushion covers, or even in mati cloth you can make frocks also. Very thin materials also available. Now I will show you how to count the squares from the, see, this type of books available, this type of designs available. You can just count the squares. Color print is also available and you get graph sheets also. You can count the cross and apply the stitches. Now I will show you how to do the embroidery. Now I will show you how to do the cross stitch embroidery. We do not make a knot at the edge of the thread, but instead we take a knot, we do a knot in the fabric. We just into the, you have the warp and weft, see, just insert through the material. And knot it up here, because when we knot the edge of the thread it just comes out, because we are going to insert into the hole. The hole is big enough, so the knot does not stay. So we have to knot it up in this way, insert into the material and knot it up, so it stays firm. This is how we knot it up and start. Now I am going to show you this pattern, the simple pattern I will show you. If you see, you can count the squares. You can see now you have in green you have 1, 2. So first I will show you one square, how to do one square. Starting here. One square, for one square you take 1, 2, 3, 4, these 4 holes, this forms one square. So we are going to do one cross in this one square. So from this hole you take it to the opposite, just go down in the opposite one. Next stitch comes in the adjacent hole, and now we go across the square, across the previous stitch. This is one cross, one left and one right. This is one cross. So we are done with one square. Now you find another square just above the previous square. So you do not miss any hole, you just this immediately in the next box we are going to do, immediately in the next square. These two holes are common for this square and this square. So take the thread out here and now we have completed 2 squares, 1, 2. Now again on top of that diagonally we have 2 squares. Now I am going to work these 2 squares. Diagonally 1, 2. This is one square, this is the next square. Now I am going to do a cross stitch here, from here to here. This is half cross, and across that. Now we have one cross, immediate next one more, half cross, two crosses. Now we have done 1, 2, here 1, 2, this is 1, 2, here also 1, 2. Now next we have the red color flower motif. We have to do the flower part. Now joining the next color, just insert the next color, insert the needle to the nearest stitch where you are going to start. Because we cannot knot up the thread, the knot comes out through the hole. So just insert the next joining thread to the nearest one and make a knot. This is how it gets fixed, and then you can continue with the next color. Now we have done these 2 green shades, and now we have just on the right side of the green one we have one space and then 2 squares. So here also we just leave one space, and in the next one we do the, see we need to do 2 squares, so we can continuously do like this. One square, one half cross, second half cross, now across the previous stitch, Now you can see after this green you have one space and two crosses. So I have given one space and two cross. Then you can see just on top of the red one you have three boxes, three squares, like straight to this and one extra. Same way you continue doing this. One, two, three. And in the reverse, across on top of the half cross. 1, 2, 3. Now you have two cross on top of two squares on top of the reds. Now again continue. Two half crosses, then finish the cross. The same way, just on top of that you have two spaces left and then two squares. We are going to do these two. Two crosses, and then above that we have 3. 1, 2 and 3. One, two, three. This is how we have to count the squares and complete the embroidery. Again we have 2 on the right side. Repeat the same thing. You have a mirror image this side. The same thing we have to repeat this side, but always count and do. See, after doing this we have done here, then we have 1, 2, 3. You have to miss 1, 2, 3 spaces and do 2 stitches. So miss 1, 2, 3 and do 2 stitches here. We have done 1, 2 and then below that we have 3. Now after 2, 3, these 2 and these 3 is over. Now the next 2 below. Now you can see the petals taking shape. Now you can see the pattern has come to this much. You can see the leaves, the stems and flowers taking shape. The same way we have to continue, and wherever possible, color choice is our own. Wherever possible we can change the colors. This is how we continue. Most important you have to see is when we do the cross, the first half cross lies on the same direction and the second half cross lies on the same direction. How many ever, even if you do a round pattern or square pattern or whatever pattern, even if you turn the embroidery ring or the pattern as you stitch any side, see that you maintain that the base cross, the first half cross lies in the same direction, and the second half of the cross which comes on top of the previous one lies on the same direction. This gives a very neat effect. If you do it at random any direction, the finished embroidery is not very neat. See that the second half is on the same direction and the first half is on the same direction. See, here you can see all the second half is facing this side. Some books have color prints on graph sheets like this. Color prints, so you can follow the colors or you can change your own colors. Some books have only pictures of the finished embroidery, and they have graphs, plain color, single color graphs. Zoom bunny. Some books have graph images, like the pictures have been given in graphs of the same color, but you can see for each color the symbol is different. See, you can see lines for one color, you can see dots for the next color, you can see triangle shapes for the next color. So, the color chart is given like this. You can follow the chart. See, for this triangle, whatever number of the the shade number is given, you can follow this shade number or the shade of your choice, but you can do the cross stitch with the same symbol, whatever color you are going to use. See, you have E symbol, you have square symbol, the line symbol, you have filled square symbol, you have dots, you have plus, you have into marks. All these into marks are done in one color, all this plus symbol is done in another color, this is done in another color. Some books have color pictures like this, where it is easy for you to follow, but once you get the expertise, this will be very easy for you to follow. So, you can use your own shades, and without making a mistake, you will be able to finish whatever pattern. I already showed you Vidya-mitra, with which embroidery, the cross stitch embroidery is done, 14 count and 11 count. This is mati cloth, this is 11 count, 10 count mati cloth, This is called Karur Matti, manufactured in Karur in Tamil Nadu, and it is exported all over the world. This is 10 count cloth. This is very soft, in which the embroidery, cross stitch embroidery can be done. This is done in Karur Matti. See, you can see the squares little bigger, the squares are little bigger, and even a small motif you get a bigger size of the pattern. This is even more finer, the squares are even more finer. This is 14 count Matti cloth. See, the stitches are very small. You can see the cross is very small and very finer. The finer, the prettier. This is cross stitch canvas, that is even weave canvas. You get these type of canvas in many sizes, like you have smaller holes like 14 inch and 14 squares per inch, you get 11 squares per inch, and you get 24 squares per inch, and very minute varieties and thicker varieties as well. See, why are we using this canvas? Supposing you want to do the cross stitch in a material like plain material, not a Matti cloth, on your dress material, you can stitch, just tack the canvas onto the whatever fabric, the material, the textile you are going to work, and do the embroidery, and finally you just pull out the canvas. You can pull out the strands of this canvas. These strands you can just easily pull out after doing the embroidery, cut and easily pull out, after which the embroidery stays in the plain textile, plain fabric, whatever. You can select the canvas of the required size. Now I am going to show you how to do double cross. This was done with single cross, one half of the cross and the next half of the cross. So this is one normal single cross. Now I am going to show you double cross. For double cross, we take 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, total 9 holes. With 9 holes, it is a bigger square. So we start here, and from this corner just diagonally miss one hole and then go to the next one. So you get a bigger cross. Now again from this point miss one hole, come up through the next one. Now go across. The half cross is done. Now the next cross on top of this cross. So from here miss one stitch and go diagonally to the other corner. Now you have got a bigger cross. This is the, even if it is a bigger cross, now we have done a single cross. Now we are going to do the double cross. Double cross is just done across the base cross like a plus. Vertically a stitch is done and horizontally a stitch is done. This is called double cross. I will show you one more. First the normal cross but this normal cross across 3 holes, like 1, 2, 3, consists of 3 rows of 3 holes. So, it involves 9 holes, a bigger square. From this corner diagonally miss one hole and go into the other corner. Now, miss one hole and come up through the next one, diagonally opposite to this, to the end of the other corner. You have one cross, and the second cross is done on top of that. Horizontally a stitch, vertically a stitch. First you make a into leg stitch, then a plus leg stitch. First a cross, then a plus on top of that. The counting is the same as how we did cross stitch. You have to count the number of squares and apply this double cross. Even a smaller pattern will give a bigger effect. You will have the, see, you can see a small pattern, you get a bigger size. Here we have applied the double cross. Even a small pattern looks little bigger. You will get double the size of the original cross stitch pattern. This is double cross.